We learn how to create realistic fabric materials like these shots in Redshift and Octane within Cinema 4D. As you can see, the right reflection on the fabrics made them more realistic. For that, I updated the Magic Texture plugin with a new feature which is named Auto Sheen. Auto Sheen will take your fabric materials to the next levels by introducing fall-off. Fall-off will add more reflections to the edges. The light will affect those areas more. Unlike V-Ray, Redshift doesn't provide a default node, so you have to recreate it somehow, which may update of Magic Texture. We'll use some nodes to do so. Before we dive into the tutorial and see how this feature works, let's see what features are included in the May update of Magic Texture. The first one is named Auto Sheen, will make your fabric materials more realistic. The second feature is named Auto Bump and Auto Roughness, which generates bump and roughness textures from a color texture. Also, Magic Texture now supports for different variations of your color texture. Magic Texture supports new texture formats beside PNG and JPG. And last thing is, an issue is fixed with Octane Displacement node, which uses the right scale value for displacement. We have a very simple scene in Redshift. The only light source is an area light. We use Magic Texture to generate a fabric material with fall-off, which simulates the shots I showed earlier. In May update, you can enable Auto Sheen, which helps you to have more realistic materials. Auto Sheen feature comes with two presets. One is named Standard, which simulates the fall-off of normal fabric materials. The other preset is named Velvet. We move forward with Standard for first texture and apply it to pillows. In case you have a AO texture in your texture pack for your fabric material, the AO will be disabled and fall-off setup will be used instead. Let's apply the created material to objects we want. We apply it to the pillows and the fabric over the bed mattress. Since our material is in white, we don't see that much. Let's change the color of base color with a mix node and use another color. Now you can see that type of V-Ray fall-off in Redshift. This helps you creating more realistic scenes in Cinema 4D and unleash the power of Redshift. To control the fall-off, I have used a Fresnel node. Curve fall-off value will increase the light reflections over the surface if you lower it. If you increase the amount of curve fall-off, the light reflections will be limited to sharp edges. Now let's try the Velvet preset. We load another texture pack and set the type in Magic Texture to Velvet. We change the color of base color with a mix node. We need to apply the material to the object. If you select the object, the magic texture will apply the material to the object, but in this case, I forgot to select my desired object. As you can see, the Velvet preset provides more color reflection over the fabric compared to standard preset. Now let's try Auto Sheen in Octane. In Octane, you can get the same result if you enable Auto Sheen and choose the right type. Let's render the scene. By default, the scene is using an environment light. We set it to black, as we want to affect the bed only using an area light. We enable path tracing in Octane instead of direct lighting in Octane. Let's load our texture using Magic Texture, and also we have to enable Auto Sheen. The type is set to standard. We apply the texture to the pillows. In Octane, we don't have a node named Fresnel, but we have a fall-off map node. Magic Texture uses this one. For now, let's use a mix node to change the color of the base color texture. We use RGB spectrum node to set the color we want to be used here. As you can see, it generated the same light effect we saw earlier in Redshift. And to disable this glossy look, we set the specular float value to 0 to set the fall-off. You can use the fall-off map node. Unfortunately, Octane crashes a lot in 2024 version, so I couldn't continue recording. Another feature which is included in new update is adding support for more texture formats. I have included support for EXR and TIFF image files in May update as you previously requested. Let's generate a new texture with Magic Texture to see how it works in action. As you can see, all EXR files have been imported successfully. The procedure is the same for Octane. EXR and TIFF image files can be used to create PBR materials in Octane. Another requested feature is here, where support for texture packs that contain more than one variation of base color. Like this example, we have 2 color textures which are included in this texture pack. If Magic Texture detects you have more than one color texture, it will show a dialog box to let you know that texture pack has more than one color texture. One of these texture will be used, and in case you need another one, you must click on the base color node and load another one. Material creation is successful, as I explained before. If you need the other variation of color map, you can click on the base color node and load the other one. Let's change the render engine and set it to Octane. Now we generate an Octane material. Octane also supports for texture packs which have more than one color texture. In case you need the other variation of base color, you can do it the same way as Redshift. Click on the color texture node, load the other variation. In May update of Magic Texture, I fixed an issue with the default value of Displacement node in Octane engine. In previous version, Displacement scale was set to 10 by default when it finds a displacement texture. But in newer version, the displacement scale is the default value and remains at 1. You can download the new update from my Gumroad page. You can find the link in description